Jananim Saradam Devim Ramakrishnam Jagadgurum Padapadme Tayo Shritva Pranamami Muhurmuhu. Please sit erect and concentrate on the luminous self that you are. I will chant Om, and again after 5 minutes I will again chant Om. Please close your eyes now and open slowly after 5 minutes. Today is Phalaharini Kali Puja day, and today, since we have comparatively less people because of vacation, so on a suggestion I will talk about Kali and the relevance of this goddess in our lives, and also the significance of this particular day, which is Phalaharini Kali Puja day, which is celebrated on a new moon day, Amavasya day. And also it has been popularized, or it has become so popular after Sri Ramakrishna. Because Sri Ramakrishna, at the end of his spiritual sadhanas or spiritual practices, he offered all the merits of his spiritual practice at the feet of his wife in the worldly sense and his consort Sri Sarada Devi. The word Phalaharini means one who takes away your fruits of actions. So we are all here in this world because every action produces an impression in your mind, and that impression further makes you do other actions. So if I do a good action, it leaves a good impression in my mind, which is called samskara. It is also called karma or karma phala, and that will make me do another good action in my life. And this goes on and on till I understand that I am not the doer. Till I have the sense of doership, this samskara or karma phala is generated. Now Kali is called, particularly in today's context or in the context of the worship of Phalaharini Kali Puja, she is called Phalaharini because she has the power to destroy all the karmas or samskaras of your life. That is, she has the power to give you liberation from this repeated birth and death, repeated coming and going. So it's quite significant that Sri Ramakrishna surrendered all the fruits of his spiritual austerities on this day of Phalaharini Kali Puja at the feet of his wife. This is not only significant, but it is unprecedented, unparalleled in spiritual history. Never has any spiritual personality, a prophet or an avatara, given so much importance to his wife, to the extent that he has surrendered all the spiritual austerities to his wife whom he has married. So this is not a wife with whom he has some kind of supernatural or miraculous connection, but she is a wife very much in flesh and body, whom he has married. And to this person, he surrenders all the spiritual austerities. Now, it has got different significance. We will come to that later. In the life of Sri Ramakrishna, we see a strong connection with this deity, Kali. Later on, we see that same connection in the life of Swami Vivekananda. And for many reasons, it was very important for Sri Ramakrishna that Swami Vivekananda accept the deityhood or the divinity of Kali. And that is why we all know the episode, more or less most of us here know, that when Sri Ramakrishna saw that Swami Vivekananda has accepted the divinity of Kali, he was very happy. He was very, very happy. He started clapping his hands and singing songs and all that. Why is that so important? We will come to that again later on. First of all, talking about Kali. What is the general form of Kali? So Kali is a goddess whose complexion is totally black. There are songs which says that she is blacker than black color itself. So she is so black. Some can call it pitch black, etc. So she is very black. It's very important that we understand this. Generally, divinity, the very word Deva or Devi comes from the root word Div, which means light. And so, most of our goddesses and gods are very beautiful. They are, good at, they have good looks, they are good to look at. But here is one goddess who is very black. So however good granite you may make the image in, it has to be black. And the second thing is, woman, the form of woman or the form of a goddess, particularly woman, has to have what is called the feminine grace. So if you take the form of, say, Lakshmi or Saraswati, the form is very graceful, the form is full of femininity, feminine grace. And one thing which is very important in feminine grace is dress. That's why we see in the case of queens and even in the case of social queens in today's world, dress is given a lot of importance. And Kali does not have any dress. She is absolutely in the nude or she is naked. So one, she beats the conventional sense of beauty by being totally black. And second, she beats the conventional sense of feminism or femininity by becoming nude. Then, in terms of womanly grace, what is also very much important is that the person talks well. So generally we associate woman with sound which is very soft, a gesture which is very soft, a gait or walk which is very gracious, etc. And here is a woman who has her tongue out of her mouth. When do you do that kind of a gesture? When you want to either insult somebody or when you are in a frivolous mood, you are trying to make fun. Both of these gestures are not considered good as far as a woman is concerned or even as far as a man is concerned. But just see at this form of Kali, she has brought out her tongue. Her tongue is protruding out of her mouth. Now there are thousands of interpretations why her tongue has come out, etc. I'm not going into that. But the very fact that we have a divine form, we have a feminine divine form which is nude and which is black and with tongue coming out, is quite shocking. Then it doesn't stop there. Then what does she have? She has a garland of heads. Another thing which is very commonly associated with a woman is ornament. In fact, as we see in the life of Sri Sarada Devi, when she was married, she was supposed to be given some ornaments. But after the marriage, the ornaments were removed. And Sri Ramakrishna very funnily remarked that now what can they do? The marriage is already over. Maybe in modern times, that would not have been that simple. But anyway, that was the remark he made in those times. So he later on got some bangles, etc. made for Sri Sarada Devi, because he said that a woman loves ornaments. So today also women love ornaments, only the form has changed. People may not love so much gold ornaments, but they will love things like, nail, extra addition to the nail and all that. There are so many things. So ornament always a woman loves. And that is the general idea of a feminine form. And that is why when we see Lakshmi or Saraswati, we see these forms decked with ornaments. Somebody has a nose ring, somebody has an ear ring, etc. In fact, if you go to Kanyakumari, how many of you have gone to Kanyakumari? Yeah. So Kanyakumari, if you go, however distant you are from the main deity, you will see that there is almost a lamp glowing on the nose. It's not a lamp. It is a nose ring with a gem so powerful that it appears as though it is a lamp. So powerful. And in fact, it is told that when the temple was not so big, people used to get direction by seeing that light. So her nose ring used to act as a lighthouse. So this is the idea we have of ornament. And here we have the form of Kali, who is wearing a garland of heads as ornament. And some places it is head, some places it is finger, whatever it may be, that is what she is wearing. So this is a stark contrast. So if someone sees a person who is schooled in the traditional idea of feminine beauty and grace, particularly a person who is schooled in the Greek notion of goddess or the European notion of goddess, which is just a derivative of Greek notion of goddess, or if someone is schooled in the non-East Indian, that is West Bengal, Assam, etc., a person who comes from outside this part of India, what is the reaction when they first see the form of Kali? Great shock. I have been witness to this reaction many a times. Great shock. They are totally shocked because they have never ever imagined a deity or a goddess like this. A woman in the nude, black, protruding tongue and having a garland of skull. Now, of course, that doesn't stop there. And to top it all, as they say, what is that? What is that? Icing on the cake is that she is standing on the chest of Shiva. So here you have a feminine form which is standing on a masculine form. Just imagine. It has got a great significance, great repercussion. We don't see it like that. We just, most of us, we go and say, Amake bachiye tho. We just pray. But this iconography, this symbol has got a deep significance, and that is that generally what we see in the case of Lord Narasimha, I'm talking about Lord Narasimha, we see that Lakshmi is sitting in the lap of Lord Narasimha. We see that in the case of Lord Vishnu, Lakshmi is doing Pada Seva. When Vishnu is reclining in reclining posture, Ananta Shayana, Lakshmi is at his feet. Never do we see that a feminine form is standing on top of a male deity. And that male deity is who? Shiva, who is kind of a mendicant. He is a sadhu. So Shiva is the deity of all sannyasins. Why? Because he does not bother about the place where he stays. He doesn't bother whether it is Vaikuntha or any other Kuntha. He doesn't bother about what he wears. He doesn't bother what he eats. And he is bindas. So that is why he is the Lord of sannyasins. Swami Vivekananda, while talking about many things about Indian religion and Indian culture, he kept on saying this both in the West and in the East, that in India we deify everything. We don't believe in the dichotomy of divinity. What is dichotomy of divinity? That there is something divine and that there is something which is not divine. That there is a God and then there is a devil. That there is Allah or Bhagavan and there is Shaitan. We don't believe in that. All Indian traditions believe that everything which we see is more or less the manifestation of the same divine principle. And so, we have no problem in worshipping Kali. Because we have deified destruction or death. So, Kali is the deification of the terrible. She is the deification of the terrible. So, Kali is even the word is something which is terrible. So she is terrible or terror incarnate. Now, how did this form come? This form came just after the early Vedic times. It was not there in the early Vedic times, it came after early Vedic times. And this form, for all we know, is not so pronouncedly found in the Vedas. Though some people will quote some Upanishads and say that Kali is there, but it is not so clearly found in the Vedas. But we do know that mother worship or feminine worship is very much prominent in the Vedas. It is there all through the Vedas, all over the Vedas. But as far as the form of Kali is concerned, it is not so clear or distinct in the Vedas. And this Kali, this form of Kali, has gone through different parts of the world. In fact, she has also entered Buddhism. She went into Buddhism and then she came back in a different form to us as a Buddhist goddess. As a Buddhist goddess. Interestingly, Kali has also been the form or the goddess of what we now know as Tantra. Of course, there is a lot of confusion regarding Tantra. Tantra is nowadays generally taken to be a license to do whatever is sensual. But Tantra is anything but that. Tantra is not that. What is Tantra? Tantra is channelizing one's human weaknesses, channelizing it, giving it different direction towards God. As we know, Sri Ramakrishna has often said this, that if you want to cry, cry for God. If you want to desire something, desire God. If you want to love, love God. Channelize or direct your impulses or instincts towards God. That is what is Tantra. So Tantra has various streams, but the goal of all the streams is to take your desire and channelize it towards God. So the very basic philosophy of Tantra is whatever desire you have that desire creates problem. All our problems come from desire. Desire. So you take, in Buddhism it's called Tanha, Trishna. you take this desire away and channelize it towards something divine, something godly, something ennobling, something which will elevate you. That is Tantra. But what people are doing now, they are taking this to mean that take this desire and bring it down and take you also down to the level of the body. That is not Tantra. So Kali has also been one of the main deities in tantric practices. And some people will say that Kali has also been the deity of thugs. In fact, there has been a lot of literature written about thug in India, particularly in the colonial period, that is in the British period. Many British historians have written books on the thugs. Thugs, they were considered to be a different class of people who lived in India and who were actually dacoits, and they worshipped Kali. In fact, Sarada Devi, we know that she came across a thug and she saw that they were worshipping Kali. So Kali has been seen as you see, there is another perspective. I am going more into the social cultural perspective of this goddess rather than going into the philosophical part. See, Kali is seen as a Brahminical goddess. A goddess who is for the common man. Just like Jagannath is seen as the god for the common man. Just like Shiva, particularly in the north, not in the south. If you go to the southern states, Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, Tamil Nadu and Karnataka, you cannot go into a Shiva temple. But what is the characteristic of a Shiva temple in the northern India or rest of India? That anybody can go into a Shiva temple and even embrace the Shiva Linga. And so is the case with Jagannatha. You can go into the Jagannatha temple, or particularly when the chariot comes, you can embrace Lord Jagannatha. So that is not the case with other gods and goddesses. Kali has evolved as a goddess for the common people, for the people who are supposed to be of lower sections of the society, who are called people of the lower caste, who were deprived entry into temples, who were even today in many parts of India, they are deprived access to worship of gods and goddesses. So for them, the Kali is there. So Kali can be worshipped by anyone.
Is other report of India that people are not allowed to go into Shiva temple?
No.
Who are allowed?
Priests. So another thing about Kali is, as I told, she has evolved herself in various forms. So in southern India, we will see that many places, somehow this psyche of people in many parts of India couldn't accept a female goddess, feminine form, divine form in the nude. So they have covered her up with dress, of course, and then they have changed the name. So in various parts of India, you will find forms similar to Kali, but then they are well dressed up, etc. Now another important thing is, now we come back to the gender thing of Kali. You see, why did Sri Ramakrishna come? I don't know. Of course, we will have to ask him, but why did Sri Ramakrishna choose only Dakshineshwar as his place of sadhana? Because Dakshineshwar was the place where he did his spiritual practices. Also, why did he choose that temple which was started by a woman of a lower caste, Kaivarta, Rani Rashmani? She was a great woman, she was a great administrator. Even now in Kolkata, there is huge property which belongs to Rani Rashmani estate. So why did Sri Ramakrishna go to that particular temple? So that itself is a big question. We can have our own guesses, we can have our own conjectures, but what I feel is The answer lies in a letter written by Swami Vivekananda in response to a letter he received from his brother disciples about the first celebration of Sri Ramakrishna's birth anniversary in Dakshineshwar Kali temple. What was the letter? The letter said that some particular Babu said that in Sri Ramakrishna's birth anniversary celebration, public celebration, many people of lower castes came, many public women, that is prostitutes, came, and so that was not a good place. It was not a place for Bhadra Lok. So, if something can be done about this, it will be good so that more and more Bhadra Lok or gentlemen can attend the function. And Swami Vivekananda, I am paraphrasing him, Swami Vivekananda wrote a reply. He said, I am not interested in Bhadralok. The original letter is in Bengali, both of them. He said that Sri Ramakrishna came for the downtrodden. He came for the ignorant. He came for the wicked. And if anybody has any problem with them, let them not come to his public celebration of birth anniversary, his birth anniversary. Let more and more people who are, fallen, so-called morally fallen people, let them come. It is for him that he came. It is for those people that Sri Ramakrishna came. So there lies the answer of why Sri Ramakrishna chose Dakshineshwar to be his main place where he did spiritual practices. And he also chose, we have never seen, at least we don't have, this is one great advantage with the life of Sri Ramakrishna, that we have everything documented. We don't have such documented history regarding other great incarnations, even not Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, though he was in recent times, not so much in detail. He chose the path of Tantra. He did Tantra practice. He also did Vaishnava practice. He did all kinds of practice. He did Vedanta sadhana, and then he also practiced Islam, and he also practiced Christianity, and he reached the ultimate in all these disciplines. But he practiced all the various disciplines of Tantra. Why did he do that? Because as Sri Ramakrishna himself would say later on, that in Kali Yuga, Annagata Pran, our bodies are dependent on food. That means we are dependent on material things. We are dependent on our desire, and it is our desire which propels us in our daily lives. So if we know how to control the desire or to channelize the desire, then only and only then we can go towards our goal in life, which is God realization. So Sri Ramakrishna showed us a path where you can actually channelize this desire, and that is Tantra. And there is a lot of serious study also going on in the field of Tantra, and that has to be understood, that a person desires and how this desire can be transformed. All Kali worship is a Tantra worship. So you will see in Ramakrishna mission, monks don't do Durga Puja, but they do Kali Puja. So if you go to Belur Math today, you will see that monks, sannyasins will perform Kali Puja, but they don't do Durga Puja. Why? Durga Puja is a puja of the Vedas, and to do any Vedic karma, sannyasins don't have any right. So brahmacharis should do that. But this Tantra puja can be done by sannyasins. So that's why we do Kali Puja. And also the puja of Sri Ramakrishna is not a Vedic puja, but or Vedic worship, but it has been devised later on. So sannyasins do that worship too. Now here we come to this, the very concept of Kali. I answered that question by saying that Sri Ramakrishna probably, I cannot say that it's a definite answer, because for that we will have to go and ask Sri Ramakrishna himself, but probably he chose that because, as Swami Vivekananda's letter we find, that he said that this is for this kind of people that Sri Ramakrishna has come. Now coming back to the form of Kali. You see, as I told you earlier, Kali is the worship of the terrible. Is the worship of the terrible. You see, a very significant difference between the psyche of India and those from outside of India. Or rather, I will put it more firmly, significant difference between people belonging to Eastern India and the rest of the world. What is the difference? Anything terrible is considered non-holy. Anything terrible is considered devilish, unholy, ungodly. So if you see a snake, that is considered not holy outside India. If you see something which is having very terrible form, it is considered unholy outside India. Death is considered unholy outside India. Nowhere you can see outside India deification of death. It is only in India that death is deified. Outside India means, of course, I am meaning the West. If you come to the East in Buddhism, definitely we have deification of death. In Shintoism or Taoism. When I say outside India, of course, that's an overgeneralization. I mean the West. In the West, particularly in the Abrahamic traditions or the Semitic religions, that is Judaism, Islam and Christianity, there is nothing holy about death. Death means something dark, something devilish. If something terrible happens, it is because something devilish has happened. Only in India, everything is, or in Eastern traditions, everything is holy. That is a big thing we need to understand. And here, Kali has come, and you see the place where this worship has started. It is interesting that in my childhood, I came across an image of a goddess. Later on, I understood that that was Kali. And in my childhood, I was worshipping that in the state of Kerala. Later on, long after, I understood that that was nothing but Kali. So there is a strong connection between West Bengal and Kerala in terms of culture, in terms of even the physiognomy of people, etc., anthropological features. So you just see in Kerala, where there was this matriarchal system prevalent, in West Bengal also there was this system prevalent. In Sikkim and other places, Eastern India, Tripura, etc., you will see this matriarchal system prevalent. All these places we see a predominant prevalence of worship of Kali. So, Kali worship is mainly because of the supremacy of the feminine gender in the society. You may say that I am wrong, but that is how it is seen. Wherever the feminine gender has a bigger role or a major role to play in the society or in the families, we see that Kali is worshipped there. You will not see this worship elsewhere. You will see only here. Why? Because that is the deity who stands on the chest of Shiva. And another thing is, Sri Ramakrishna actually fulfilled the worship of Kali by giving this status to Sarada Devi, that he surrendered all the fruits to her. And not only that, he said that I have done nothing, you will have to do much more. And that is what happened. Sri Ramakrishna's number of disciples are not even a handful, but Sri Sarada Devi had to do a great missionary work, and she initiated countless into spiritual practice. So that also he did. In Buddhism, we find some deities who Swami Vivekananda says that in Indian tradition, particularly in Hinduism, there were no abominable practices in the name of Tantra and all that. There was no, Sri Ramakrishna puts it very gently. He says that there are different paths to God, some are paths from the behind. So to reach a house, you have different entrances, some are from the behind. So sects like the Karta Bhaja, etc. are from the behind, because they have lot of practices which are based on the body oriented practices. So he said that. Swami Vivekananda says that these kind of practices were not there in Hinduism. It all came because of the corrupt practices of Buddhism. So Buddhist Tantra is a big Tantra we find. And there if you see some Devis like this Vajra Devi, etc. If you see their forms, they are very much similar to the form of Kali. Another thing which we should understand is, people who have worshipped Kali or whose songs Sri Ramakrishna was very fond of, he used to sing, he used to ask others to sing. Those people, how did they look upon Kali? What was the relation they had with Kali? So what are those people? Whose songs did Sri Ramakrishna love? Ram Prasad and? Huh? Ram Prasad and Kamala Kantu. In the order, I have had a direct experience of many people who are coming from outside of East India. When they hear these songs, or when they first listen to these songs or read these songs, they are again what? Shocked. They are shocked. Because the wordings, the lyrics of the songs, particularly, graphical description of the form of Kali, because we have this Kali Kirtan, a rich tradition of singing songs on Kali, which is mostly set in the Drupad system of music, which is again a very classical system of music, which was liked a lot by Swami Vivekananda, because according to him, every note is given sufficient consideration or sufficient time in Drupad. Even the Arati of Ramakrishna Math Mission, which was written by him, Khandana Bhava Bandhana, etc. People who go regularly to the ashramas and sing the song, or we monks, we don't understand how difficult it is. If you ask a person who may be a music expert to sing that song for the first time, then you will understand it's very difficult to sing that song, because it is in Drupad. Chavatal it is called, no? So it's very difficult. The rhythm, the tempo, everything is very difficult. So there you see the very letters are given enough time, kha, etc. So the whole mood gets into you, and the person who is singing, the person who is listening can actually absorb the mood of the song. So most of the Kali Kirtan songs are set in this Drupad form of music, and there the lyrics, and it is interesting that even many people who have Bengali as their mother tongue can't understand the meaning of those lyrics, because these are all very old songs, and if you understand the lyrics properly, then you understand that the relation between the person who has written the song and the deity is a very, very intimate relationship. Very, very intimate relationship. So the person is scolding the deity, he is quarreling with the deity, he is calling her names, all these things which cannot be imagined from people who are from other places. And as far as I know, even many people who are from this place also, Eastern India, when they come to know what is the real meaning, they can't take it. And Shiva is scolded like anything. Shiva is not even given any chance at all. So I know of many brahmacharis who do not sing those songs. You know, how can we sing? Like Shiva cannot be scolded. It is not possible. So this is the kind of intimacy with the deity. See, two things are there. One is you worship the terrible. Second is you worship the deity, but then you know that that deity is everything, but at the same time there is an intimate relationship with the deity. She is the mother of the universe, she is the God, only God, everything is true. But then you can like scold her, said you are mad, pagla mein, you are mad and you are like an intoxicated person. All whatever you can think of, you can keep on scolding her and also her husband. So you can do that. So this privilege we have got. You see, when Sri Ramakrishna was practicing his spiritual austerities, there are certain important aspects which we generally ignore. We talk about them, but we ignore. Sri Ramakrishna once went to the toilet of a person and cleaned the toilet. Toilet means not like now toilets. You can actually sleep in nowadays modern day toilets. They are not toilets at all. You don't see any filth at all. They are so clean and all that flush. No, that those days toilets where people used to have all the filth there itself, and the other day the next day somebody will come and carry it. And it was all stinking. So people who have gone to rural areas would have seen such toilets. Now of course even in rural areas you don't have that kind of toilets. So Sri Ramakrishna went to a place and with his hair, he cleaned that place. Many people can't even clean the sink of their kitchens. Forget about this. So when we read that, we don't even understand what we are reading. We cannot, understand the kind of abhorrence, the kind of, as you say, grina, the kind of, ill feeling you get when you see things. For people, most of us, lizard is enough. So you see a lizard, you feel like, what is this? But he cleaned this. That is one thing. Second, he actually touched with the tip of his tongue a rotten human flesh as part of his tantra sadhana. And he did so many such things to remove the feeling of hatred or abhorrence, grina, which we call vibhatsa. You don't like something, you like it's so ill or filth. To remove that, he did that. Because even in that filth, the same divine principle is there. Consciousness has no limits in space, time or causation. So even in that filth, the causation, that cosmic principle or the conscious principle is existing. So you cannot remove the filth. So from that standpoint, if you look at Kali, what we do generally when we worship Kali, we give agarbatti, good smell, we give good flowers, we decorate the image of Kali, and thereby we bring her again to the traditional, conventional idea of beauty and traditional, conventional idea of feminine forms. But no, Kali is not that. Kali is terrible. So where should be Kali worshipped? She should be worshipped in the forest. She should be worshipped in the cremation ground. She should be worshipped in the mortuary. She should be worshipped in the hospitals. This is the place of Kali. She is the incarnation of destruction and death. So when we actually worship Kali, we don't think that. In fact, most of us, if we just say, so suppose I say that, okay, please, somebody asked me, okay, please meet me tomorrow. I said, yes, if I am alive till tomorrow, I will meet you. Oh, what will happen? Why will you die? Everyone will die one day. We all know the famous utterance by Yudhishthira. What is the greatest surprise? That everyone thinks that the other person will die, though they see everyone dying again and again, but they think that somehow that person is immune to death. So even the very concept of talking about death frightens us. So can we actually worship death? Can we actually celebrate death? You see, there are, again, you see how this whole form of Kali has come. There are again many forms you will see. They are also surprisingly among the lower sections of society. What? Some person dies, they make a big celebration out of that. They take the procession and nobody is sad. They will all take the drums, beat and dance, etc. Mostly among the lower sections of the society. So they make a big celebration and then they go. So celebrate death. In Buddhism there is a practice of seeing the burning of a dead body. So people, Buddhist monks, they go to cremation grounds and they see how the dead body is burning, how the skull is cracking, etc. You should actually see it, and then they meditate on the impermanence of body. So people meditate on dead body also. They sit, Shava Sadhana it is called. I don't know how many people do it today, but that is also there. So something terrible, but we see goodness in that. A person is bad, but the person is bad because of some particular circumstance. A person is good, the person is good because of some particular circumstance. Essentially everyone, as Swami Vivekananda said, is potentially divine. These bad or good qualities are just coverings. Just because somebody has the money to purchase good dress and wear it doesn't make the person good. Similarly, somebody had the karma phala or the sanskara to be born in a good family, to get a good education, to get a good upbringing, and the person has become good. And as Swami Vivekananda says, if you keep on doing good things will come to you. If you keep on doing bad things will attract you. So that is the difference. So this person becomes good and becomes better, and the other person becomes bad and becomes worse. Now when we say we worship terrible, we worship death, why this worship of death or terrible should be only in the temple? It is always only in the temple because we are afraid of gods and goddesses, Kali or whomsoever it is. So it is only in the temple. But why it should be only in the temple? True worship of the death and the terrible should be all through. When I see a drunkard come in front of me, when I see a rogue come in front of me, when I see a criminal come in front of me, should I not worship that person? Does not that person have divine conscious principle in that person? No, but I don't worship. Why? Because I somehow feel abhorrent. I feel, oh, that's why you see people should be properly dressed to go to places. If some person is not dressed, what happens? We have so many incidents from the lives of so many great people. Once, I don't know how many of you know about Dada Thakur. No, Dada Thakur was a great literary person. You know about Dada Thakur, right? So once he was asked to be the chief guest in a function in Kolkata, and his dress was a very peculiar dress, and he went, and then the police stopped him from going inside, and they could not start the function because of him. He said, I am the person, they are waiting for me. And finally they had to come down, and then they had to take him. So this is what happens, because we have our own idea of dress. But it's okay if it is an imported Bermuda, that is okay. But if you have Indian paijama, then there is a problem. So this dress creates a lot of, and your face should be very nice, you should look beautiful, you should be fair, all fairness creams. Why does this happen? Because we always think that terrible means something bad. We immediately associate terrible with the character of a person. If a person is not having proper dress, means that person is bad. If a person does not have good looks, means the person is bad. Somebody told me, and this is very common, so how you get this, we don't know, and it is totally illogical. There is no logic, there is no empirical evidence to support this. But this is how we do it. This is how we do it. And if a person, particularly a woman, is not covered properly, then the woman is somehow to be ridiculed at. And that somehow the woman is, quote unquote, sorry to use the phrase, available. This is what, the whole mentality is like that. The woman is available. Now from this perspective, we should see the form of Kali. When you see the Kali form, do you actually see something which you see when you see the same kind of nude form or naked form of another woman? If you see, then you are seeing the form wrongly. What is the ideal of a sannyasi? Or what should be the ideal of any spiritual aspirant, particularly a male spiritual aspirant? To see mother in every woman. That is the ideal. And that is why Kali is in the nude. So it doesn't matter whether a person is clothed or not. I don't see the sensual in a feminine form. I don't see the sexual in the feminine form. But I see the divine in any form. And that is why Kali is in the nude. But when we, so that's what, when we make the, if you go to this Kali Puja, generally we observe on the Diwali day. That is the main Kali Puja or Shama Puja. We observe on the Diwali day. And this Phalaharini Kali Puja, as I told you earlier also, became popular because of Sri Ramakrishna. And you will not see it celebrated much outside of Ramakrishna mission centers. So Kali Puja, when you see, if you go to Kumartulli, etc., you will see that these people make so beautiful, in the conventional sense again, images of Kali. Why? Why should Kali have the perfect, as you say, figure? She should be like fat. She should be bulky. She should be very odd to look at. Because that is the whole point here. Kali is terrible. But again we do the same thing. We put it very nicely. We make the very nice form. And then we use so many nice aids. And the puja has to be very beautiful. The pandal has to be very beautiful. Decorated, etc. And again what happens? Around this Kali Puja, again the female form is insulted, ridiculed and made a source of consumerism. That is what is done. That is what is done. And we simply ignore the aspect of Kali standing on the figure of Shiva. That is totally ignored. That is totally ignored. So as I said, I am not going into the philosophical aspect because you will get that a lot. There are plenty of books and there are plenty of sites which has that. But the socio-cultural aspect, why did this form come at all? Why do we not see this form elsewhere in India? Why is it that it is seen only in places where the woman in the family is important? In West Bengal, even today, woman is very much important in the family. Actually, woman, as we say, calls the shots in the family, which is not the case if you go to places in North India. The controlling authority is not the woman in North India, Northern India or even Western India. But interestingly, in Eastern India, she is, and that is why we find this form. We have seen, and we all know, that divine form, a feminine divine form or mother god is worshipped across the world. If you go to Latin American countries like Argentina, etc., you will find that Mary is worshipped there. In fact, Mary is the main deity there, not Jesus. That is there. If you go to other parts of India, you will find that Lakshmi, Saraswati and all are worshipped. Durga is worshipped. Everybody is worshipped. But this form of Kali, we don't find so much. Why? This form of Kali is the form which we need to worship. She is the epitome of woman empowerment. She is the epitome of woman empowerment and she is the ultimate form of woman empowerment. And that is why Sri Ramakrishna offered his spiritual austerities at the feet of Sri Sarada Devi on the day of Phalaharini Kali Puja. Because Phalaharini Kali or Kali is the symbol of woman empowerment, and he wanted this woman empowerment to be implemented in today's society with the ideal of Sarada Devi, in whose name we have Ramakrishna Sarada Mission, which is the only monastic organization in the world which is run by women and women alone. There is no other monastic organization which is run like that, and it is a great thing. No, Brahma Kumari is not a monastic organization.
What is the meaning of Phalaharini?
Okay, that is how I started. Really, we need some revision. Phalaharini means what? Did you dose off or something? No. Phalaharini, dose. Phalaharini means, phala means fruit. So here we are talking about fruits of action. Okay, so whenever we do some action, it creates a fruit in terms of tendencies in our mind, and that fruit leads us to do another action. So suppose you listen something good, it leaves a good tendency in your mind, and it will make you listen more good things. Okay, so this also makes you come back again and again in this world, because the more you have tendencies, you will have to finish them, and so you will have to come. That is also called as karma phala or prarabdha karma. Phalaharini means she removes all those tendencies. She takes away the karma phala. Whatever action you do, she takes away the results of the action. Harini means a person who takes away. So that is the idea. And we will have this action results till we have the idea that we are the doer. Why do we get the result? Because I think I am the doer. That is why I get the result. So the goal of spiritual life is to do away with the sense of doership, kartritva, or the sense of enjoyership, bhoktritva. So that is enabled, or that is helped by Kali. That is why she is called Phalaharini Kali. So there is no other monastic organization apart from Sarada Ramakrishna Mission which is completely controlled and managed by women. And because in a society generally across the world, across major world religions, monasticism is considered to be the highest section of the society. Even the king has to go and bow down before a sannyasi. Sannyasi means not only in Hinduism, Buddhism, also in Christianity. So that monasticism is controlled completely by women in an organization. This is the height of women empowerment. And who manages a household? Who gives birth to children? And who brings them up properly? Or at least who is supposed to bring them up properly? Mother, the woman. Nobody else can do that. So that is why she is controlling the entire universe, and that is why she is standing on the chest of Shiva. Now this image has to be understood in a different perspective, in the socio-cultural perspective. And whenever we think of Kali, we should think of the terrible. We should think of the rickshawala. We should think of the sweeper. We should think of all such people who have been deprived of education. All such people who have been deprived of proper circumstances. And people who have been deprived of decent livelihood. We should think of these people. And proper worship of Kali will be worship of these people. And that is again related to the concept which Sri Ramakrishna gave, Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva. So in fact, instead of Shiva Jnane Jiva Seva, it should have been Kali Jnane Jiva Seva. Then it would have been better. Because the moment you see the terrible and you don't run away from that person. I saw one in Vrindavan in our ashrama, sadhu had come. So in Vrindavan, everyone knows that anybody who is almost dying or very ill, doesn't have any money, you just take the person and put that person. They just even don't stand there. They put the person in front of Ramakrishna Mission Sevashrama hospital. Then the hospital will take care. So like that, some sadhu was put there. And this sadhu had so many problems. Mainly, he had a big hole on his head. This big, almost 6 inches down. And it was full of maggots, worms, full of poka. And he was lying down near a gutter for so many days, and he was stinking like anything. So one nurse of this Ramakrishna Mission Sevashrama, she sat on a chair and she made the sadhu lie down on a bench in the open, because in the hospital it was so stinking that nobody could. And even in the open, you could not go near 30 feet of that person. So much bad smell was coming. And she took a forceps and took one worm one by one. And she did that for many hours. That is worshipping the terrible. Can we do such kind of service? If we can, then we are doing Kali Puja. This kind of Kali Puja where we get sweets and khichdi after the puja, everyone can do. We need Kali Puja where we can actually observe and imbibe the fact that there is nothing terrible in this world. Everything is divine. That is, so most of the times we see so many things and then we just, oh Baba, what is this? So we also should watch some good movies we may watch. We should also watch some horror movies. See, it makes your brain strong. It makes your psyche strong. And it's not joking. Really, we should do that. And we should understand that this Kali is... Sister Nivedita in one place, she jokingly said, what we need now is Kali and chutney. She says, with chutney you can gulp down anything. Even unpalatable things you can, if you have little chutney. Usually when you go to a shop and ask for samosa, that samosa inside masala is rotten. But with some chutney and all that, you can eat it. So similarly, we need Kali. Why? Kali denotes the terrible. From this aspect. Another aspect, of course, so much is made of the complexion of a person. Fair complexion. Fair complexion. I have told you many times earlier also, there are some movements now going on by social activists that it is not fair to want everybody to be fair. So anyway, so this fair complexion, that a person, even now it's very common in India that a girl will not be married if the girl is little not fair. Means it is, if she is little on the dark side of complexion, it's difficult to get married. And this whole idea about a proper shape of body, etc. And this always happened only with women. Man, if he is dark, if he is having a tummy, no problem. But woman, something goes wrong, it's a problem. And the whole idea, because in recent times we see that in India particularly, where women should be worshipped, or at least in our scriptures we say women should be worshipped, we see so much of atrocities, so many atrocities done on women. So if a woman is beautiful, that's it, period. That's it, then her life is gone. So no woman can be beautiful. So it's like an irony. People want every woman to be beautiful, but if she is beautiful, then her life is gone. She cannot walk in the streets, she cannot do anything, etc. So the whole idea of beauty and the whole idea of graciousness. So many people say, no, all these things happen because women don't wear proper clothes. So all problems are because of women not wearing clothes. But we have no problem worshipping a deity who is absolutely having no clothes. See the irony, see the contrast. But if you go and inquire the facts, these problems don't happen with people who are not wearing proper clothes. These problems always happen with people who quote unquote wear proper clothes. I don't know what proper clothes means anyway, but who wear proper clothes like sari or salwar kameez or whatever it is that people think are proper clothes. I don't know how again jeans or t-shirts is not a proper cloth. So that always happens there. So Kali Puja, when we are talking about this socio-cultural aspect, we should see. One, we should worship the terrible. We should accept the terrible. We should embrace the terrible. Two, we should worship the female form and the female person. Not only the form, but female person. We should worship women. Swamiji constantly kept on telling that we should worship women. Three, we should not only worship women, but we should accept women not as equals, because women are not equal. Woman-male equality, Swamiji also says that just like a chariot has two wheels, etc., these imageries are there, and he says just like a bird has two wings, they are equal. But no, women are not equal. They are much superior in their role to play in the society and family to men. They are superior, and that is why this imagery of Kali standing on the chest of Shiva. Because no man, at least as far as I know, can produce a child. That is biologically simply impossible. So many things are being done nowadays, but no man can produce a child. So even biologically, male is far inferior to the female form in the body. So we should do this. If we do that, that will be Kali Puja. I have told this, the socio-cultural aspect of this. Now I will come to the spiritual or sadhana aspect of this. You see, we were talking about Phalaharini Kali. So this Phalaharini, our goal, as I said, is to exhaust all our prarabdha karma. To go beyond the concept that I am the doer or I am the enjoyer. How do I do that? So this one puja day will come, I will pray. But usually what do we pray? We pray for something. We pray for something. We pray that I should get this, I should get that, etc. Sri Ramakrishna's prayer was beautiful. He said, you take good, you take evil. You take my ignorance, you take my knowledge. All that what is good so-called, you take that. All that what is so-called bad, you take. But one thing he did not give truth. He kept the substratum. He kept the basis of everything. That is the conscious principle. That is truth. You can call that truth. And he gave everything else. So you see here, when we talk about Phalaharini Kali, when we talk about giving up our results, we should give up both good and bad results. We have no problem giving up bad results. All of us will do that. But we really have problems giving up good results. What is the first question a person asks when they meet a sannyasi? And it is very unfortunate. Last time a driver asked me that question and I scolded him. I said that, are you not ashamed to be an Indian? And again asked this question. What is the question? Don't you marry? This is the question we ask. And this is asked from all parts of the country. Don't you marry? Sannyasis don't marry. Achha. It's a big revelation. So why do you ask this question? It's a stupid question. Because sannyasi means, even if a person, sannyasa can, in the tradition, Indian tradition, there is brahmacharya ashrama, grihastha ashrama, then vanaprastha, sannyasa. So if a person takes sannyasa from brahmacharya ashrama, like we do in Ramakrishna Mission, so we never marry. A person who takes sannyasa from grihastha ashrama had married, but he has left his wife, because sannyasi cannot have a wife. And then from vanaprastha or sannyasa also, there is no wife in a sannyasi's life. That is very important to understand. He might have had a wife, but in Ramakrishna Mission, any person who has married cannot become a monk in Ramakrishna Mission. That is how it is there in the Ramakrishna Mission. But generally you can take sannyasa from any life. So the very question that, are you married or do sannyasis marry? It's a ridiculous question. It's a ridiculous question. It's like asking a doctor, do you use a stethoscope? It's a ridiculous question. And doctors, so of course, unless the doctor is a PhD doctor, I mean, I'm talking about medical doctors.
It is their ignorance.
It is their ignorance, but I'm astounded by the vast ignorance of the vast majority of people. Anyway, so what I was telling about is, this question comes. Sannyasi, has he married? Why? No, they are all Hindus and they are all Indians. Why does this question come? That is what I am coming to. Because you see, marriage is, though I beg to differ, by most of them marriage is considered to be a good thing. So you give up everything, but why should you give up marriage? I mean, that's okay, man. शादी कर लो ना, क्या है? खराब तो कुछ नहीं है. संसार त्याग दो, लेकिन बीवी को मत त्याग. So giving up of good thing. Then next thing is, do you have parents? They ask this question, do you have parents? Like, of course I have parents. How do you think I was born? Like, I'm not test tube baby. Even test tube babies have parents, man. So anyway, so do you have parents? And then they say, do you talk to your parents? Okay. So again, this problem is, then the whole argument of you have escapist, you have left your parents and you come, etc. So the whole argument is, how can you give up a family life? You give up everything, but family, affection, love, it's a different thing that all the people are quarreling in families, but love, affection, how can you give that up? So that you cannot give up. Then you were in a job and you were drawing more than lakh of rupees. Are you mad? How can you give that up? So anything good we don't give up. And some people, they don't stay as monks or they come to spiritual life and they are just waiting for the chance to show their visiting card. That, I'm not an ordinary person, I did, but now I am a bhakta. So this is like very good. So I am a great person, I was a great person, now I am. So this you don't want to give up. You don't want to give up your educational qualifications, you don't want to give up the thing. So we are not talking about that kind of giving up. If you give up everything. Good and bad. As Swami Vivekananda so famously said, that chains are chains, whether they are of iron or they are of gold. They bind you, so you give up everything. You give up everything. And that kind of practice we should do. How do you do? Suppose somebody comes and scolds you. It is not acceptable. But somebody comes and praises you, it's acceptable. So somebody praises you, say, na, apni badi bolche na, nahi hota. But if somebody scolds you, then you become aag babula and you come to blows. This is what. And that is the very important thing in Bhagavad Gita. These opposites have to be dealt with the same mindset. Equanimity. What does it say? You have to see both metal and gold with the same mindset. You have to see both paper and that paper with Gandhi ka photo or whatever with the same mindset. You have to see happiness and misery with the same mindset. Can you do that? You have to see heat and cold, Shita Ushna, with the same mindset. You have to be Samadarshina. You have to be equanimous to all the opposites of your life. And why is it important? Because if somebody is scolding me, that is because I had scolded. So that is coming back to me. And if I react here, again that will lead to another prarabdha karma. That is why we saw in Tattva Bodha, Titiksha is very important. That is why, so Phalaharini means, okay, you see, in worship, particularly when you have a divine form, it is a psychological support, it's a psychological anchor, just like many people wear rings. That ring will not do anything. Whatever you have to do, you only have to do. But it is a psychological support. So Phalaharini means Kali, of course. Just like Sri Ramakrishna, he gave everything and then he said, Lakshmi, don't get angry. So like that, I hope Kali is not getting angry. But anyway, Kali may be there, she is there. But whatever you have to do, you only have to do. And Kali may take away your fruits, but you will have to work for that. You will have to work for that. How do you do that? Suppose somebody comes and scolds you. What is titiksha? Sahanam. Sa titiksha nigadyate. Swamiji says to do is karma. Kri in Karma Yoga. How many of you have not read Karma Yoga? Please read it. It's not a big book. So at least read it once and twice, then you will keep on reading it. He says, to do is, Kri means to do. So anything, any action is karma. Even a thought is karma. So somebody comes to, somebody comes and insults me. I don't tell anything to that person. Sahanam sarva dukkhanam apratikara purvakam. I don't respond. Pratikara, response or reply. I don't tell anything to that person. But chinta vilaparahitam. So I think of that person. Who is this fellow? I should, suppose this happens here, say. Then I will say, who is this person? Is this person a student or a professor or what? Then I have to ask Professor Mandal, who is this fellow? He came and behaved like that to me. Doesn't know whom he is talking to, etc. This is going on in my chinta and also vilapa. How vilapa? When Professor Mandal comes to me and said, you know, this fellow came and talked to me like that, and it goes on for another hour. So that leaves an impression not only in my mind, in his mind also. Dubenge, unko bhi le dubenge. So you sink and with some other person also. So this is developed. So my prarabdha karma is nothing but lost. It is not lost. It is not going anywhere. It will come again. It will come again. So Phalaharini means what? You have to remove the tendencies. How do you do that? You just keep quiet. Don't think. And this doesn't come in one day. Don't think, don't bother. And the beautiful part of the world is, the more you do that, the more people will come and scold you for no reason whatsoever. Suddenly someone will come and slap you. That means what? It is also very one interesting thing. The more you do spiritual practices, this will happen. That means what? That means all the prarabdha karma is getting exhausted. So generally it is told that if a person is living, many great saints have told that, if a person is living and that is the last birth of a person, then the person suffers a lot in that birth. A lot. Why? All the accumulated karma is being exhausted. So somebody will come and tell something, somebody will give some other suffering, somebody will not give anything to eat, etc. It goes on and it goes on. But the person will be very nice. So if you are being bad and people are reacting, don't think it is your last birth. That is because of your action. But if the person is nice, still it happens, the person has to keep quiet. Because these karma, phala or prarabdha karma tendencies are going. That is why some people, some saints, what they do, if somebody has come and does some small help to that person, say some saintly person or a sadhaka, spiritual aspirant or a spiritual practitioner has come and somebody offers tea, immediately that person will do something for that person because he doesn't want any kind of karma to remain, any kind of rina or debt to remain. So this person will immediately do something. That's why you see saints generally don't take service. Great spiritual practitioners, they don't take service because they don't want to get bound. Unless of course that person is a very great person who is already a Jivan Mukta, who does not have any bindings. But generally they don't take, because usually people serve great people with some desire in mind. As we jokingly say, it is good to eat in a hotel. It is for a sadhu or for a spiritual aspirant, it is good to eat in a hotel than to go to somebody's house and eat. Because, because if you go to somebody's house, there is the hotel you pay and the person gives you food. But if you go to them, the person is like, Amar chile, madhyamik pass karuk and all that. So many desires are there and this is given. And that is why Sri Ramakrishna used to say that you should not take the food of a Shraddha ceremony or a marriage ceremony, etc. So people are so intelligent nowadays, or at least they think they are. So they know this, that in Ramakrishna mission, Shraddha is not. So what they will do is they will not tell that there is Shraddha. They will say, on this date, I want to feed the sadhus. So sadhus are also intelligent, people think. Then say, why only on that date? Not on that date. We will tell you the date on which you have to feed. So why only on that date? Or you deposit the money, we will feed the sadhus whenever we want. Or we feed them every day, so we need a lot of money, you give them money. So like that, they have marriage, so they will not tell the ashrama, because bolle tora nevena, all these sadhus, they are all intelligent, no? Everybody reads the gospel of Sri Ramakrishna. So they will say, no. So you see, this is how. Phalaharini means we have to constantly be on the watch, just like in Kathopanishad we saw, Vipaschit. We have to constantly remember that we are Chaitanya or consciousness, conscious principle. Similarly, we have to constantly be on the watch whether I am increasing a new tendency, whether I am acquiring a new prarabdha karma. So I have this great desire to serve the whole world with my scientific discovery. Whether actually I am doing that or whether it is I am pampering my ego. So as many people say, Thakure Richa. One sadhu was very funnily putting. So a senior monk is there and he's saying, you are just criticizing. Whenever I tell you anything, you are criticizing. Why don't you just take it as the will of Sri Ramakrishna? Immediately this sadhu also, who is also not very junior, he told, yes, my criticism also can be the will of Sri Ramakrishna. You are saying this, so why don't you take this also as the will of Sri Ramakrishna? So Thakure Icha, just telling anything as the will of the Lord or God doesn't help. So we have to be constantly on the guard, constantly thinking, what am I doing? What am I doing? Whether I am doing this. And that's why Sri Ramakrishna or Swami Vivekananda has given us the litmus test. Whatever you do for selfish interest will bind you. Very simple. Anything that is selfish will bind you. So whenever you do something, just think whether you are doing it for your own interest. And of course, interest of the family means your interest. So you have to, that thinking you have to do very rigorously, analytically. Like Valmiki said that I am doing, is it for me I am doing, it is for you. Then he said, no. They said, we will not take any share of your prarabdha karma. This is the idea. So Phalaharini Kali Puja means instead of doing all this worship, we should actually concentrate on these things. We have to first concentrate on accepting the terrible, accepting the so-called not beautiful, accepting death and destruction. And then we have to accept woman in the sense of a superior person. And we have to stop tormenting women. And we do that in various ways. Just imagine, even the very concept of obscenity is from a male concept. Only when a woman is portrayed, it becomes obscene. When a man is portrayed wrongly, it doesn't become obscene, though it will hurt the sentiments of a woman. So even obscenity is from the male perspective. So that has to stop. We have to respect women, and Swami Vivekananda says only when you respect women, a country progresses. That we have to do. And second is, we have to be constantly on the guard whether I am accumulating some new tendencies, I am increasing some new tendencies, and tendencies which are good and bad. Some people have good habits. So all kinds of habits are binding. All kinds of tendencies are binding. So first you have to remove bad habits by forming good habits. And finally, you have to, for a spiritual aspirant, you have to remove the good habits also. So this should be our goal. Every time we see Kali, we should remember these things and not try to change the female goddess Kali again into a conventional female goddess in the conventional sense of beauty and grace. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat.